there, this is Nikisa. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your adorable little pipe cleaner bunnies. Here's an example. He hasn't got his eyes on yet, but I'm going to be showing you how to make these super cute little bunnies. So for these, you will need the pipe cleaners are inside your kit. I've included 4. You actually only need 3 to finish your bunny, but I have 4 just in case you need an extra one or you want to make him extra fluffy or a cute little chunky bunny as well. Then you will need your little weaving needle. These will be used to pop the eyes on at the end. You'll need your eyes, and then you will also need, I highly recommend getting some kind of we have blue tack here in Australia. It's just like little kind of tacky putty that you can use to stick things like posters on the wall. You'll need a tiny bit of this because it will really help you in adding your eyes because they are so small. You'll also need hot glue for your eyes, but let's get started on the pipe cleaner bit. So to begin, we are going to be making the head part of our bunny, and you'll need 1 single pipe cleaner for this. We want to start by taking a measuring tape if you have one handy. Otherwise, this is really easy to eyeball. You're going to start by measuring about 3 centimeters. That is just a little bit over an inch. An inch would be fine. And making a bend in your pipe cleaner. Then we are going to measure 2 centimeters and bend it back the other way, just like that. If you don't have a measuring tape handy, I find it easy to kind of roughly go, okay, that's about 2 knuckles length. That's a little bit over 1 knuckle length. You will have excess at the end, so it doesn't matter if it's slightly bigger or slightly smaller. You just kind of want to get that ratio right of 3 centimeters and 2 centimeters. Then when you have that, you're going to bend your pipe cleaner back again to 3 centimeters. Now you're going to take your kind of working pipe cleaner and the little end here and give them a twist, just like that. When you twist, try and pop that little end point, press it flat, sort of facing up so it blends in. And now these are going to be your little bunny ears. Now, taking a pen of some kind, I like to use just a thin pen that I have handy. Place it in front of your bunny ears. We are going to use this pen to sort of shape the bunny head really roughly. Just hold it against these ears and take your working pipe cleaner and twist it over just like that. Literally just like that. So easy. Then you want to do this 3 times. 1 time in the middle, 1 time on the right side, and then 1 time on the left side. Give it a tight pull so you can see the pipe cleaners have gone all the way around, and then when you pull out the pen, you will have a rough little bunny face. Now what you want to do is give these a pinch. Just make sure they feel sort of secure, I suppose. They don't need to be perfect, but the wire in the pipe cleaner should mean that they stay in place. And if they don't, you probably haven't pulled hard enough when it's on the pen. The pen will sort of, it allows you to pull tightly without it crushing that rounded space. So pull tightly and it should roughly hold in place. Then when it's held in place, take this working piece of your pipe cleaner and thread it through the middle on one side, just like that. Threading it through is going to sort of secure it in place and basically ensure it doesn't come loose. Now, we've essentially got our little bunny head. We just want to take a moment to squeeze it into the shape that we want. So you can leave it completely just like this, simple, round. It kind of has like a cute little fluffy feel. You can also, if you like, use your fingers to pinch and mold it just a tiny bit so that it sort of feels like the bunny has a kind of more pointed nose shape. Like that. You can see what I've done is basically give a tiny push at the end to make it slightly more pointed. There's honestly no rules for doing this perfectly. Just give it a press and a squeeze how you like. And if you're too nervous to do that, just leave it as is, nice and round. And so this is your little bunny head. How cute. Okay, now that we have our little head piece, we are going to take a new piece of pipe cleaner and we are going to be making the body. So to create the body, we're sort of creating two tiny little feet and two tiny little hands. Hands, I suppose, would you call them? Paws. So we're creating the sort of skeleton, I suppose, that will go inside and create these two little feet pieces and two little paw pieces. So to do that, we're going to take our measuring tape again. Remember, you don't need this if you don't have one handy. We're going to measure 6 centimeters. So this is roughly 2.5 inches. You're going to put just a tiny little notch in there so you know where the 6 centimeter space is. If you can't tell, if you don't have a measuring tape, I find it handy. It's kind of the same size as my pinky finger, if that is a rough estimate. It really, really is rough. It's just about getting the ratios right. So once you have that 6 centimeter marked out, you're going to take the tip of your pipe cleaner. I'll move this to make it easier to see. You're going to take the tip of your pipe cleaner and you're going to bring it over to where that 6 centimeter space was, and you are going to create a tiny little twist to secure those ends together. You should have a loop on the end of your pipe cleaner. Then use your fingers to flip that loop, invert it over, and pinch the ends together so you have created a little, like, it's almost like miniature ears of what we did right at the beginning. So you'll have two tiny little paws, essentially. Then we are going to measure out 3 centimeters across. This is sort of the length of the bunny's body that goes inside. So if I use this example, this is what's going to be a sort of like a spine, I suppose. Measure 3 centimeters across. That is just over an inch. Roughly an inch will do, and maybe 1 long knuckle if you are working without a measuring tape. And then we're going to measure another 6 centimeters, and we're essentially going to repeat the exact same thing. So we're going to flip. This time it's our working side of pipe cleaner. Flip it over, just like that, and give it a little twist. And then fold this over so you are creating 2 new little paws or feet. And there you go. What you have now kind of looks like a little pink fluffy dog bone, but it is essentially going to be our little paws and our feet. And often I'll find that they're not completely the same size. These, I can tell my little feet are slightly bigger, but really this is why this kind of crafty project is not meant to be perfect, and it will still completely work out even if they're not absolutely perfectly even. Usually I will sort of decide which is largest. Looks like these two are going to be largest, and I'm like, okay, that's probably going to be my feet because they'll provide a sturdier base for my bunny rabbit. Now, once I'm happy with this sort of spine shape, you can bend it and flex it so that it starts to take the form of a bunny rabbit. And now we are going to use this excess tail that we have and our head to attach these pieces. You can kind of see the shape is starting to come together. He looks a little bit skinny, but it is coming together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about where I'm going to place my bunny head. So in this case, I want it to be above these small pieces, but if you felt like this was the right size, you can also do the exact same thing from this direction too. For me, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to hold this piece against the spine, roughly where I want his head to be. I find leaving a teeny weeny little gap works. You can do it there if you want him to be a bit more cute. You could give him a long neck too, but that might make him look a bit more like a kangaroo than a bunny rabbit. And then when I'm happy with that position, I'm going to take this working pipe cleaner sort of tail and start to twist it around and around. The first twist is always going to be a bit chaotic because the pieces are going to want to come apart. I like to give it one twist, and then I like to just go do a little windy one piece sort of through the middle of the legs just to make sure they're attaching securely, I only do one twist because I find that's all it needs. Then I'm going to go around and I'm going to keep twisting and twisting all the way up, round, 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 and then do essentially the same thing at the top. Remember, the pipe cleaners are quite malleable, so if you go, oh my God, it looks weird, his neck's facing the wrong way, just give him a twist and trust the process that you'll be able to kind of move the body of your bunny rabbit around to where you like it at the end of this process. So once I reach this stage, I'll usually do another twist sort of in between the legs just to make sure it's secure. And then continue doing this until you run out of pipe cleaner. At this stage, you should have sort of a little teeny looking rabbit. He looks a bit like he's been, I don't know, had all his fluff taken off him because he's still quite little. Oh, we've only used one pipe cleaner, but that's okay. Then what I'm going to do with this little tail bit, it depends how long you have left. You can either tuck it into his body. I usually like to tuck it in because essentially I find that the shape of the bunny looks better if he has a sort of larger back end, if that makes sense. You'll see from this shape, has a bit of a like larger back end and a smaller sort of torso section. So I like to use that little bit at the end to give him some extra bulk on his little butt. But you can also snip it off too if you are not feeling confident there. And then now the last step is going to be forming a tail and also using the rest of the pipe cleaner to create some bulk into our bunny. So to create a tail, it's actually super, super easy. We are going to take our pointer finger and thumb finger, and you are going to take your third pipe cleaner and place it on your finger in between. Use your thumb and pointer finger to twist. So you give it a twist and you'll see it creates this tiny little notch. Then you're going to take your thumb and forefinger again and you're going to twist again. And what that will do is create a teeny weeny little like circle at the end of your pipe cleaner. So I do that twist about 3 or 4 times. I don't want his tail to be too large in comparison to his body, but do it a couple times. Make sure you like the shape. It's nice and round. And then what I do to attach it is slide it in between his little legs, just like that. And then use the pipe cleaner to secure it by just twisting around. I actually think one twist is all you need. And then I prefer to use the rest of this pipe cleaner to continue what we did earlier, which is to create a little bit more bulk on our bunny. And that tail will sit nicely there at his back. You can secure the tail more if you like. I personally actually kind of like that I can move it around, so when I want to place my bunnies later, if I haven't secured it too tightly, it gives me the space to kind of move the tail around to where I want, and usually it will look good once I've completely chosen his little position. So once we're there, I'm just going to keep using this excess to move up his body. I like to keep my twists quite tight at the top. Oops, there we go. And then come back down again. And when I am in this kind of midsection, I'm going to put most of my twists there. And I won't be as tight with them because I want them to kind of like form his little back end more. I will twist and twist and twist until I reach the end of my pipe cleaner. And then when I reach the end of my pipe cleaner, which you can see just here, I just tuck it tightly, whoops, into his body shape. So this is what we have here. You can see I had a little slip which moved the placement of the tail. That's fine though. If I want to correct that, I just twist the little tail up again and rearrange it to where I'm happy with it. The tail also does help to kind of like ground the bunny when you are positioning him. So now that we have created our little bunny shape, I like to decide what position I want him to sit at. Sometimes you can sort of make him like sitting down on the ground. I like to position them so that their feet are like flat, and then he's sort of sitting down. And once I add a little carrot, when he's holding a carrot, it sort of helps to ground him and make him sit flat. You can make the legs wider so that he sits a little bit better. Just like that. You can make him stand. You can make him like sit down like he's loafing like a cat. You can make them stand normally like I suppose like a dog or something like that as well. But I feel like this is the cutest position for a little bunny to sit. So I'm going to work with that. Now, next step is going to be adding our eyes. Okay, now we are going to be adding our little eyes to our bunny rabbit. Now these eyes are super, super small, but I've tried a million different sizes of eyes, and I just like these flat ones most rather than ones that have a little tiny end to them, if that makes sense. So what you want to do is take a few of these eyes out of the packet and lay them on your working table. Then you're going to want to use your blue tack or your kind of tacky material that you have handy, and you're going to roll it into a little ball, and you're going to poke it onto the end of your needle. I know it looks kind of funny, but trust me, this is definitely the easiest way I have found to work with these little eyes. The blue tack allows you to pick them up super easily, and it works a little bit better than say wax. If you guys have ever done diamond painting, you'd use a similar thing with wax. But when we're using hot glue, obviously wax melts, and we don't want that to melt all over our little bunny. So to attach the eyes is super simple. You're going to take your hot glue gun. Ooh, yep. Make sure the tip is as clean as possible. I'm actually working from home today. It's a cold and rainy day in Sydney, so I'm working from home. So I'm actually using a more industrial level glue stick than I would usually for something crafty. So one of like the really cheap hot glue guns that has a thinner nozzle will totally work fine. But I want to show you how you can use all kinds of different glue guns. So this one is like super high heat. It has a big fat nozzle, which means it might be a little bit messier, but you know what? We're still going to make it work. So in order to add your glue, you are going to need to put the tiniest little dab onto wherever you want his eye to be. As small as you can make it, it doesn't need to be perfect. Then take your eye and press it into that hot glue space. Press it and hold it until your little blue tack comes off smoothly, and then let it dry. Sometimes you will notice there is an excess of hot glue around the eye because the eye is just such a small little piece. You only need the tiniest dab. If you have an excess like I have here, do not worry. Let it dry and we will cut it off later. So while that's drying, I'm going to move to my other side. I'm going to repeat the exact same process again. So I'm going to put the tiniest little dab. I'll try and make it even. See, you can see there's the excess glue coming off. Oh no. Oh, I need to flip these. Oh dear. Flip over little eye. There we go. And I'm going to hold it down. I hope I haven't lost that tacky window. There we go. This is a better example where you can see there's some stringy glue on here. That's not looking very cute, but I promise we will clean it up. There we go. So he's got his little eyes. Once the hot glue is nice and dry, yep, it is. We can take any small scissors. And the great thing about hot glue is that you can trim it off quite easily. I find it doesn't make a huge difference. I want to try my best not to cut the rest of the pipe cleaner off, but trim this just like that to make his eyes nice and clean. I can actually get quite close as well. Just like this. And as long as I'm not cutting the eye, it should be fine. There we go. Okay, so I've trimmed that up. You can see he's looking a lot cleaner and fresher. And then this one, it's really not too bad, but I can go in there now that it's nice and dry and take my scissors and trim it off. There we go. Around we go. I hope you didn't hear my husband talking in the last clip. I think his dad called him. And so from the other room, he answered and said hello. Hopefully you can't hear him anymore. I've told him to go to another room. There we go. Alrighty, that's looking super cute. Yay! Okay, so here's my little bunny. This is a great point where if you want to change his facial features, you can. You can see he looks quite angular. He's like a very angular bunny. So if I wanted to, I could try and push his nose in a little bit so that he has a bit of like a rounded face and then a little like space for his mouth. You can also use your scissors if you want to get real crafty with it. You can use your scissors to make the fluff on your pipe cleaners look needed too. So for example, if I wanted him to have pointy ears, I could do that by cutting here and here. Because I like to keep him as sort of like a fluffy little rabbit, I'm not going to do that, but it is an option. And now that you're doing this subscription box, I think you're definitely a crafty pro, and that means that you can really customize your bunny in the way that you want. Okay, I'm happy with his shape. I might pinch this so he has a pointier nose, but I think that's looking pretty cute. Now it's on to our carrots. Now that our bunny is all complete, we are going to make our little carrots. And oh my God, these carrots are so much fun to make. They're just so cute and tiny. I'm obsessed with them. So to create your carrot, you'll just need one pipe cleaner in green, one in orange. They actually don't take much pipe cleaner to use, especially not the green. So you can sort of choose the size and shape that you want and how many you want on your piece. So what I like to do to create my carrot, firstly, is that we're going to use the green pipe cleaner to sort of create the core of the carrot. To do this, you are going to measure out roughly 3.5, 4 centimeters. So that's it's about a little bit over an inch. It's 1.5 inches. So about this much. You're going to give yourself a little kink at that place. And then we are going to bend over our pipe cleaner like this, so we have a little V. Move that away. So we have a little V, and we are going to give our pipe cleaner a snip, just like that. So we essentially have a little green V. And then to make the core of our carrot is actually insanely easy. All we're going to do is take the carrot, the two ends, and we're going to give them a twist at the top about, I don't even know what that is, slightly less than 1 centimeter. I find it's about the amount that feels comfortable to pinch in your fingers, just like that. And that's the core of our carrot. Too easy. Then I like to pinch this as tightly as I can. If you want to get real precise about it, if you want to be the real artist here, then you can take your scissors and also trim the fluff off the very end of your pipe cleaner. This will come in handy in a few moments when we add our orange. You can do this. If you can't be bothered, don't, because it's not super necessary. But I like to do that to make the bottom nice and clean. Then we are going to take our orange and we are going to use this orange to twist around and around the length of our carrot to make it a carrot and not just a little green stick. So to do that, you're going to take the end and you're going to twist it around, give it a little pinch. I usually do a tiny little squeeze like that, just to make sure the orange is secure. And then go round, another twist. Should try and get an angle where you can see it neatly. And then all you're going to do is essentially what we did for our rabbit body. We're going to go round and round and round the whole length of our carrot. The thing here is that you want to do a couple little extra twists at the top so that it sort of creates, it's thicker at the top. And then as you go down, keep it nice and flat. And then when you get to the end, you essentially want to go round and round until you're covering that little green tip. That is why I said it can be handy just to like give it a little trim so that the fluff is not peeking through. When you've sort of covered as much as you can, take your scissors, give them a snip, and there's your carrot. How cute. You can trim it if you want to make it neater. You can also make these top parts longer or shorter. The world is your oyster as to how you want this carrot to look. And then you're just going to repeat this a couple of times till you have a whole collection of carrots to go with your bunnies. Some alternatives is you can make your carrot shorter. I haven't even measured this one, but I can tell it's going to be a little bit shorter. So do that to sort of show you the options. I'll make the twist a little bit bigger so that there's more. I've made it uneven. You know what? If that happens, just trim that up and now it's even. I'm going to use this orange to make a kind of shorter, stubbier carrot, I suppose. I'm going to twist as best I can to secure. Do a couple extra twists at the top and then down, down, down. This one I haven't actually trimmed the end because I'm trying to show you how creative you can be. You can see there's a little bit of green showing. If I want to be nitpicky, I can try and trim that now too, but no one's going to see this carrot. And there you go. This carrot is shorter and stouter, but it still looks very cute. So there's lots of things you can do here to make it your own. Yay! So now my two little carrots are done and I am going to make him hold one. I don't know why, but I think it's so cute when they hold the carrot like this. It's just like, oh, so quaint. And you can dot them around your little coaster in a really fun and cute way. You can pop the carrots into the bobble yarn as though they're sort of growing. I know it kind of looks like a bush and carrots don't come out of a bush, but it does sort of give you that interactive, fun little moment, especially if you have kids. It's a fun way to kind of pretend you're picking the carrots out of the ground and the bunny is taking them, drinking from the stream and hopping along. So I hope this project has brought you a little bit of fun in your life. I hope it's been a fun little afternoon activity to make these sweet little bunnies, and I cannot wait to see how you guys enjoy your subscription box. Please give us some feedback. It's our first time ever, so I promise you that we are working to make every month better and better. We've tried to make this subscription as great as it can possibly be, but we are always going to keep improving, and hopefully with time it'll just get more fun and more creative. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy.